Welcome, everyone, to All Women Driven, where we take a look into the past of our women in automotive to drive women forward in the future. I am your host, Sarah Davis. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead and listen to my other previous podcasts. Don't forget to like and share where you're listening. That is the best way to support me. And then if you like my channel, you should also check out the Law MacArthur Ford channel. Ford Video Guy, where he blogs about everything that he does to his vehicles and his adventures off road. Go check out RagnarCon. He does a lot of Bronco as well. There's also All Terrain Nation and Johnny's Car Care and Reviews for our friends in Canada who are looking for some information on Ford. So let's get into this. This week we have Laura. Hi, welcome on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
I work for my father's Ford dealership. I wear many hats. I kind of call myself the jack of all trades, but master at none. My title is sales manager. And I am learning every day. I loved hearing like kind of what you were doing here. I jumped on right when I knew that you were doing these, and it's, I was never thought I'd be where I was today, to be honest. And it's just an everyday learning. Never stop learning.
Yeah, of course. So, you said that you are the daughter, dad owns the dealership. So, how many generations have owned the dealership?
I am the third. It started out as a dealership in 1934, and my grandpa took it over in 1968, and then my father took it over in 98, 99. And then I, again, never thought I could do it, being a woman and everything. And then my husband, I do give him a lot of credit, is why I'm here as well. Because again, I don't think I could ever do it myself. And so I guess we're going to be the next owners someday. So
does he work there with you?
Yes. He's a service manager and runs the whole service. There. So
awesome. A little bit like my husband and I'm out here at the dealership, and then my husband is our ceramics and Pro Packs installer. So we met when he was my manager and I was in high school.
And it's a funny story how we did meet. He I was a vet tech, a certified vet tech before this. And I had kind of my, I don't know, love for animals. And then here you actually work with the people more than with the animals. And I kind of had my niche there in educating people and of course selling things. And then I met him, brought his dog in. I, of course, had to kind of tease him about his Chevy truck. Pulled up.
Of course.
And then he basically, got talking or whatever. And then I saw him a year later then when his dog was a year old, and ended up having it's a funny story, but ended up having an intestinal parasite that I was like, kind of telling him like, you should get him on this right heartworm pill. So he teases like I called him, I called him back to get the right heartworm pill. And then he asked me out like a couple days later, but anyway, it was funny. So, so then we, dated in that. And then we did get married in 2011 to fast forward. And he actually worked for his uncle's Chevy dealership, kind of right name, wrong family thing. Like it's, would never be his, and he would kind of for the rest of his life, nowhere to go up. So then, we got married, and right after the wedding, he's like, what do you think about maybe taking over your father's Ford dealership? I never even thought of it. I don't know. I never could do it. I guess I didn't have that confidence that, I'm a girl. Like, I don't know. I mean, my parents always just wanted us to be, happy in that. My two sisters, that. But and then I don't know, he just got me thinking, and I was like, I guess I could, I could do
Mhm.
it. And so then I started there, working there, kind of getting my feet wet, um, and then I really, the more I did, I really liked it. It kind of started me out with, financing and, website. We're a smaller dealership, so I kind of got my
Yeah.
feet wet pretty fast on a lot of things, and I kind of like a sponge, and I soaked everything up as I could,
Mhm.
around me, um, and just kept doing more and more, and um,
Yeah.
so and yeah, here we are.
Okay. So you have kids. How old?
Luke is 9, and Chase is going to be 6 here on May
Okay.
4th, be with us all. So,
I get that. Mine's almost 3 and 5.5.
hmm,
So, yeah, they keep you busy, I'm
yes,
sure.
yes,
Yeah.
very.
So on top of all that, do you have any side hobbies or things that you guys like to do?
Bronco. For
Bronco?
we kind of live and breathe the dealership, so
Mhm.
um, there's not a lot of spare time, but we try to make
Yeah.
it work. And Broncos really brought that, I don't know, exciting um, part um,
Mhm.
on the side.
Yeah.
And we can kind of make our family vacations out of it. It's sometimes, leaving from work and traveling in the morning to get to where we need to go, but
Yeah.
it's worth it in the end. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much what we do. And then sports, like if he's, in baseball or basketball, we try to,
Mhm. Encourage.
yeah. So
So you haven't always been in automotive. We kind of went into all of that.
mhm.
Um, so and then your family's been in automotive. So of course, since you're at Ford dealership, is that your vehicle preference?
Oh yes, I nothing else. Especially like with trade-ins, if there something else, I'm just like, but
Right.
it's yes, bleed Ford Blue for all my life,
Okay.
and that's why like I don't know, even growing up with it, um, I the kind of the stresses in the background, like I
Mhm.
never again. That's why I thought like I could never do it's hard,
Yeah.
every day. But I
Yeah.
guess here I
I was looking at your website, and you don't have any other females at your dealership, do you?
am. Just my mom in financing, and
Okay.
then my relatives in the accounting,
Okay.
and yes, that's it.
But mostly the clerical work, the paper, the office work, not
Mhm.
really showroom, not management or things like that for the most part. Um, so did you find it hard to get into the, sales, finance, and things like that?
Yes, I think sales is hard. um, and it's always a challenge because and then it's always changing too, just like the
Mhm.
last, 4 years it's been
Yes.
crazy.
Because we went from you can haggle to the dealer sets the price and that's the price.
Right.
And now we're almost back to a
Or-
haggling type of situation. So
Right.
we've seen our salesmen here, struggling with that because they're
Right.
used to that's the price. There
Mhm.
is no other price for you. Take it or leave it.
Right.
And customers are like, no, let's get back to the old ways.
Right. Right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I'm still, and I would say I'm still inexperienced with that part of it. So I'm learning a lot again now
Mhm.
on that aspect as well.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm kind of juggling, like I do the ordering, the vehicles. I'm trying to learn as much as I can on each vehicle. As a
Mhm.
specialist, I'm the Bronco specialist. I'm the EV, what do they call it, champion now. So that can
Yeah.
be a little challenging sometimes too. But
Yeah. I get that. I got Maverick, half of Bronco. Once you get into like drivetrains and all that, I'm like, let's talk to Tim.
right,
So I completely get that. It's always a learning, always learning something new. I mean, Tim even, he says 20 years in, 22 years in, he's still learning.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
Things are always changing. Ford's always changing how they're doing things. So, yeah, learning is a huge part of the dealership community.
Mhm.
Do you guys join in any Bronco clubs or anything where you're at?
Yeah, Michigan Bronco Club in
Okay.
Chicago and Bronco Group too. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of obsessed with Michigan being pretty close. It's like 6 hours away with time
Okay.
change. But
So do
um,
you hang out with Allie?
yes, funny story too, because I was thinking back kind of the few years when I got my Bronco. I bought it on 2/22 of 22 for
Oh
good
my
luck,
gosh.
and which it was when we had to hold the mannequin for 6 months or whatever, and then
Yeah.
they were kind of pressing me to sell. I'm like, no, I have to sell on this date. It's just what
Right.
and that was the year. Or first, I missed the Supercell in Tennessee, and I saw it on social media. I was kind of obsessed with Bronco then because I was actually, I remember seeing Allie and Andrew Farkas on social media when I was kind of studying it up
Mhm.
before it came out, and I remember them. I remember them around that year, whatever, at Hollyoaks, and I was like, I need to go there. But I was like I was kind of sheltered a little bit. I didn't like to travel a lot, where now I
Mm.
just do all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, so um, I met, or so I missed the Super Bowl at Tennessee, but I went to the Wisconsin one, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was so awesome. Met
Yeah.
Bronco Nation people, heard the story a little bit more from their perspective. Old Bronco people starting out, putting their thoughts into the new Bronco and
Mhm.
it was just so cool, and I fell in love then as well. And I I met Tim
Yes.
at the next Supercell Wisconsin, I think in 23, I think is when
Yes.
and then I just remember going up to him and he's like, I was like, you don't know me, but I know you. You're Tim Barnes. I was like, it's a pleasure to meet you. And so he was really
Yeah.
nice.
Well, and I know my mom, like I told her that I was coming out here to interview, and she's like, "Well, tell Laura hi for me."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I forgot the first Supercell Tennessee or Wisconsin one I went to, I met Allie there.
Mhm.
That's what
Okay.
she I was like, who is this person? Like she is like really cool. Like she was talking about kind of the frustrations that we were going through at the dealership and
Yeah.
all the challenges and stuff. Um and I was kind of I don't know, we were kind of by ourselves. I didn't know anybody to talk to or whatever. And it was just neat. I don't know, just to kind of meet her there and I don't know. Then I went to Hollyoaks a couple of times and went because I had the executive meeting that I went to in Dearborn,
Okay.
and then because that would put my name with or my resume, I guess, to take over the
Mhm.
franchise there. So then of course I had to, after the executive meeting, that was really cool. I was the only girl there too, except for one other one who she was like, oh, she was really good too. And I was just like, oh, there's me. But it was definitely an experience, a learning experience, and really neat to kind of
Yeah.
all these other dealers and like these big time ones from California. And yeah,
Right. Now,
about,
would you say that Bronco have you been to Bronco Off Rodeo?
yes,
Okay.
a couple times, yes.
As a dealer or for the purchase?
Well, I skipped the first dealer preview.
Mhm.
My kids were little. I don't know. It was just
I
hard. Like I
completely
said,
get
I
that.
didn't just
Yeah.
jump in the plane and and go. But I I was let's see. My husband and I went the first for my Bronco purchase,
Mhm.
and then I was I was lucky to go with Michigan Bronco Club, um,
Okay.
and we made it like a girls' trip with Allie and
Yeah.
and
The
Laura.
women's day.
Yeah. No, it was just like Michigan Bronco Club was
Oh,
invited,
okay.
and oh, that was so much fun. That was my first
Yeah.
ever girls' trip, and it was a blast. I actually flew
Yeah.
on the plane by myself for the first time.
Okay.
So
I still have yet to do that. I always travel with Tim, who's my dad, so, like, I don't think I've been on a plane without him except for maybe twice.
And I
And
did
I'm
the
like,
same thing after my first trip to Bronco Off Rodeo. If it was a new airport, I
yeah.
might have been a little scared, but yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Um, So would you agree that I think that Bronco Off Rodeo needs to have a women's dealer day? A
Yes.
day specifically for women that work at the dealerships to kind of get to know one another. My dad's like, "Well, there may not be too many." I'm like, "I think there's enough. I
Yeah,
think there's
because
enough
even
of us."
at Woodward Dream Cruise, I met some women at some other dealerships, and it was just so
Mhm.
fun and refreshing to talk to them.
Right.
Um,
I mean, so dealerships I feel like are going to be the last place where women get a little bit more
mhm,
integrated. I know like the Ford, the factories, things like that, women are integrating a lot more. While
mhm,
at the dealership, it's a men's club. It truly is when
right.
you're looking at it. So looking at that, I feel like we need to encourage the women and having a dealer day specifically for women to go meet each other, make connections, and
Mhm.
hopefully make connections where we can like message each other and lift each other up. Like there will be times where Allie will post something and I message her and go, "Girl, this is exactly what I'm talking about." Like,
Right.
there's just those times where you can automatically just be like, "I get what you're feeling."
And if it wasn't for Allie introduced me to a lot of things, like at, I mean, I've been set on All Terrain Nation. I'm like, well, I just go where Allie tells me to go
Right?
because I knew it would be fun, and I don't know,
Yeah.
it just
Well, she
she
did that
inspires
in Colorado. Tim
me
went out and she's like, "I went where Tim told me to go."
a lot. Yeah.
It's just I think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, we had a lady stop in. She asked for Tim and she was like, of course I was the one up here. So they're like, "Hey, where's Tim?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's out in the picture. What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, you have a customer here." I'm like, "Oh, let me come on up and I'll greet her and see if I can get Tim or see what she needs." And because that as his assistant, I kind of like if they don't need to talk to him, they don't need to talk to him and disrupt his day. So
Right.
I answer his phone calls, I greet people at the door, and then I assess if they need to meet with him. So then I was like, okay, one second, I'll be right up. I walked up there, and it was a lady from Hayes, the Ford dealership in Hayes, and I was like,
Mhm.
um, what's up? And she's like, well, I just wanted to meet Tim. I've been watching your guys' videos. I've been working in sales for about 6 months now, and I've found a lot of great information on his videos. I'm like, well, let me get him up here. So I called him up and we stood there and talked. And she's like, well, can I get some advice from you? She's like, I probably don't want to share those things with me. He's like, nope, let's talk. So it was really cool to see that. Even this, you know, where are we? Like 4 hours away. Like
Mhm.
there's someone a
Yeah.
dealership that's in sales, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So um, it's just I think that would be wonderful if we could do a dealer day for women
Mhm.
to kind of help that.
That would be awesome. I'm kind of obsessed with Bronco Off Rodeo anyway. And I sometimes everybody says like, "Oh, I think she's more excited than I am." Like when they're purchasing their cars, I'm like,
Yes. I've heard that. I had someone come in and buy a Bronco Sport, one of my classmates, and I asked the salesman, I'm like, "Did you tell him about Bronco Off Rodeo?" And he's like, "No. I mean, that's Bronco, right?" I'm like, Bronco Sport gets it too." And you
"Oh,
told like we're paying their way. So they buy a Bronco. Of course they get Bronco Off Rodeo for free. But then, we're paying for them to go there. Like we'll pay up to $1,000
I know
of
that's
their way to Bronco Off Rodeo.
you
And I
can't."
was like, You didn't tell him about this?" He's like, "No." And I'm like, "All right, I'm telling him." So he had come back in to pick up the vehicle. I'm like, "Hey, I want to tell you about this opportunity that I think that you might have fun with." And he's like, "Man, that you make that sound really fun." And I'm like, "It is. You need to
Mhm.
go." So, like, it's a lot of fun. And I think if our salesmen were to go, they would realize how fun it is and they would promote it
For
more.
sure, for sure. Because I
But
know, because I've heard that from other dealers. They're like, they don't tell them anything about it. And I'm like, why wouldn't you? Because I
right?
teach them how to use it, and you can't really teach that at the delivery process either. There's
Mhm.
just too much where they're already overwhelmed with it as it is, and it's
Mhm.
nice that they can.
I think we're printing out pamphlets so that they can hand it to them or put it inside their vehicle.
Oh,
So that
right.
way they have the information
That
and
is a
it's
good
not
idea
just
because they have the window sticker, but then they don't want to do
yes.
that. They don't want to.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, who or what inspires you?
ooh, um, um, like as a whole or in Ford or
However you want to perceive the question.
there's lots of people. I think I have to say, I know it's all women's driven, but my husband does support me a lot.
Yeah.
He inspired me to do that. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Um, I there's lots of people. Um, my,
Yeah,
my
that's great because the men, you need men in the community to push us for to, push for the acceptance of women.
Mhm. And
Um,
like even at Bronco events, he's like, "I'll watch the kids while you go talk with people." Like he's such a sweetheart with that. And so yeah.
my
Um,
husband's similar. We go to events and he's like, "I know you're going to be talking. I got the kids."
right. And I have to say, Allie she's inspired me too, because I feel like my whole life's changed with the dealership life and
Mhm.
Bronco. Ford, and she always tells me, she's always like, thank the Bronco. And I'm like, I know. So a little bit of both.
Mhm.
Ford Bronco made it a lot of fun.
Yeah. The Bronco's actually been very common in the podcast so far. It's been very forward on a lot of the women I've interviewed.
Mhm.
And I think that's been great for the women. Have you joined any of the Facebook groups?
Yeah, I'm on tons of them. I can't even name them all, but
Right.
but that's
How
where I
much?
met, like, Allie is where I met Kelly. That's where I met you and
Mhm.
Tim,
Yeah.
and I met Melissa. At
Yeah.
Women Cruise, and you just meet so many people. It's the neatest community. It's so supportive. So,
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
get more support from like you and Tim than I have the dealers I met at the executive meeting. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I
Yeah.
think that has a lot to do with it too. So,
Yeah, I get that. So, how do you think we can encourage women to get more into our community?
to not be afraid. I was definitely afraid, and I grew up with it. Like,
Mhm.
you'd think I wouldn't be, but I didn't think I could. I don't know. It was just always like, oh, that's a man's job. That's why I mean, my parents didn't ever force that. They always wanted me to be happy and do what I wanted to do. But I just I never thought I could do it until, like, first my husband suggested. Like, you think I would have thought of that first. But and um
Did you watch my podcast with Ashley MacArthur?
I have not. I
So,
watched.
yeah, she's a fifth generational owner
Mhm.
of the dealership that I work at.
Watch
She
that
was
one.
actually going to go into marketing, and she actually planned to be a weather telecaster. That was her original plan. She
Cool.
never thought about taking on ownership of the dealership or working here at all. Um, and then she was like, well, she came in, she saw the commercials we were doing. She's like, we can be classier than that. And
Mhm.
that's what spurred her on. And now she doesn't see herself anywhere else. And she's an integral part of our operations here. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the times we don't see ourselves getting into automotive. A lot of
Mhm.
women don't.
Yeah.
But then once they do, they find that it can be such a rewarding and happy place to
Mhm.
be.
I know, and like that's what's so cool about your podcast is I was like, wow, I thought I was the only one with a weird history of like being a vet tech and then, doing this.
Yeah. Like
And
Melissa was a nurse for 20 years, I think.
it actually did teach me a lot, like just dealing with the, you're in service still and you're dealing
Mhm.
with the customer and
Yeah.
making them happy. And so, so
The
yeah,
customer I've always learned, they say the customer's right. I'm like, the customer's mostly right.
right.
Yes, we want them to think that they're right. We want to let them know they're right. But also there's this other point of view that could also be correct. And you have to make them think it's their idea.
That's right, right. It is cool though when they come in, they're like, "Where's Laura?" Like they all ask for me now, and it's kind of
Right.
cool, like that they trust me and they uh,
Mhm.
rebuilt that. you know, it's
Yeah.
kind of, and it was just funny when this one guy, he, I guess the dealer he used to go to was it sold out or something, and I think he wanted to find a new one, and he came to me and he had a Bronco on order, but then he went and bought mine, and I was so excited for him, and he's like, "Somebody said you would be so excited for that," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I must have read it," but it
That's
was
awesome.
so, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so,
think half the part of selling is getting excited yourself. Once the customer sees that you're excited, they
right,
get excited.
right,
That's
right,
like half the job is getting excited for them. If they don't see that you're excited, they kind of don't want to work with you.
right, right.
Um,
And I
Now
think it's
I don't.
easier being a Ford brand too, because I feel like the vehicles sell themselves.
Yeah.
They're so amazing,
Oh,
but
yes.
it makes it. I just love the brand too.
Yeah. Now, like I went up. We got a new guy that's helping us with video, and I he knows nothing about cars. He
Mhm.
has no automotive background whatsoever, and so like he's getting excited about vehicles that are like, oh, that's every day. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen like 10 of those. So he's getting excited about these vehicles, and it's kind of like, wow, like these are special. You don't see these every day. This
Mhm.
isn't common. It's just common to me because we sell them.
Right.
But like I went up there to share a video idea, and I was like, um, have you seen, I was like, the expedition, and he's like, what? I was like, 2025 expedition, have you seen it? He's like, no. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait till you see it. It's fantastic. Like it's gorgeous, and it's like all new, and it's like a
They're
futuristic
so
look, and it has this and it has this. He's like, why aren't you in sales? I'm like, because I don't have to be.
right.
I get to be excited about the product, show the, help show the product in video form, to get other people excited about it. So I'm helping drive customers not only for us but for others,
Right.
um, and help them understand. And I'm like, I don't want to be in sales.
Mhm.
I love what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, but yeah, he's just like, why aren't you in sales? Like your enthusiasm here could sell. I'm like, I know it can. That's why I'm in the videos.
But you get them in there, in the door, and then
Yes. Right?
because then,
Yeah.
like sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, and I feel like I fail at social media all the time and marketing. But then like my dad will be out with his buddies or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, she's doing really good. Like they'll make comments and stuff. So I'm like, okay, they must be
Yeah.
watching, I guess.
There's times where I'm like, I answer all of Tim's phone calls, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm not having a good day. I'm kind of down. This customer's mad. And
Mhm.
then I get a call from someone, and they ask me a question. I answer, and they're like, "You and Tim are so helpful. You're doing such a great job." And I'm like, "That's what I needed to hear today."
Right. It can
You
be like
know?
a day that you feel like you fail, and then the next day it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is why I'm doing this.
Right? Like, I second guess the look of my desk. I'm like, "It looks too cluttered," but it's me, and someone like, the day after that, I was actually prepared to start taking stuff down and, like, kind of minimalizing the look, and they were like, "I love your desk. I love all your little trinkets," and I was like,
Aw,
"Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear today."
aw.
Um, so, it's just, um, other people help push us to where we need to be.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Sure.
I think that's where we were. We were kind of going, who's inspired you, or how can we encourage people, women, to get into the community? I
And my
think
2 sisters too, they always want the best for me, and they always
yeah,
look out for me too.
yeah.
So,
I think the way to get men or women into our community is first us women. We are very welcoming of other women in the community. Um,
mhm.
Second step is the men. The men have to be welcoming,
Right.
where you're walking into. So
And I'm excited, I'm doing Bronco Off Rodeo at Supercell, Tennessee on the
you
Friday.
are,
Yes, because I have the Bronco Heritage Limited that I need to use that voucher before it
yeah.
expires. And I was
That's
like,
coming up, isn't it?
yes, in June. So
June.
because it's
Okay.
the 23rd or it's the 23, I'm sorry.
Tim is taking so many days off. I'm just like, what? Which one are you going to this month?
But
I
I'm
think.
kind of, I hopefully I'll be able to see people on Saturday. So
Mhm.
miss.
I think he's going to be in Texas
Oh,
third week this month.
and I'm hoping Amy Clouds comes for to Tennessee as well.
I haven't heard of her.
From Texas off rodeo.
Oh, no, I haven't heard of her.
Oh, I don't know if she's going to make an appearance at all, but
Yeah.
but
Is she a driver or a
the guide that
oh, a guide? Okay.
like well, she hooked Allie, she said too, but Allie introduced me to Mike at Supercell Tennessee, and then
Okay.
we scheduled off rodeo with Amy as our guide in Texas.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
See, like I know Melissa, and so I'm like, if I go to another off rodeo, I want to go where Melissa's at.
right. I know because she's in Moab. Because I
Yeah.
thought about that, but I want to try the Tennessee one too because
Yes,
it's hard to get away. Like I said, we pinch our kind of getaways in the weekends.
I
So
get that. Yeah, like I get the kids thing. It's hard to get away from them, especially when you're mom.
I know.
Um, moms tend to have a hard time getting away.
Yeah, and then we work a lot, so we try to include them
Compensate
in
for
all
it.
our
Yeah. Yeah.
activities.
Right?
So
Yeah, I get that. Um, being a full-time work mom is another level.
yes,
And people are like, Why can't moms do it? You're supposed to cook the dinner. You're supposed to clean the house. The house is supposed to be spotless." It's like moms back then didn't have jobs. Moms weren't working, and if they did, the kids were stepping up and taking care of the house, and we don't want our kids to be that way.
right. And
I want
Jared
my kids
helps
to
me a
be
lot
kids.
too with the how we kind of combat it together.
Right. And then men used to not help with the house. It was the women's job.
Right.
But women didn't have jobs.
Right.
Um, but now we're in that era of men and women are both working. It's a
Mhm.
team effort to clean the house. It's a
And then
clean
sometimes, like Jared's in service, he has to work late to get caught up, and then so then I try and get home, and then when I'm late a lot, I work a lot later than him. He's
yeah.
trying to get home, and
Yeah. Our trade off is he works Saturdays and I work Tuesday nights
nice
for the live stream.
one
So
night.
we have that trade off.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it can be a struggle to be a mom in a
Mhm.
full time job.
Yes, that's probably the biggest struggle. And then the kids grow and they you have another um, another thing you got to learn that they're going through and
Yeah.
so with the positive parenting.
See, and Lebo was supposed to come to Florida with me. I was like, okay, well, his parents were going to watch them. So yeah, you can come with me. Let's plan for it. We can have like a couples weekend. You and I can go off and do something separate from dad and the group. We can have a fun time. But then his parents got sick and we didn't have anyone else. And so he wasn't able to come with me because our kids are not old enough. And
Right.
they were like, why don't you bring the kids with you? And we're like, they're 5 and 2. They don't sit still. Like there are
Right.
some 5-year-olds, someone else that worked here, her child will sit through a meal. Mine does not. Mine grabs French fries and runs and darts away and throws monster trucks across the
Yes.
room. It is
Hmm.
we are
Yes.
not a sit down and eat family household. We are a snatch and run. Then come back, snatch and run again. They're active. When they're older, it'll be better. But at this point, this chapter in our lives, a sit down restaurant to talk
Mhm.
and converse is not our style.
No, we have okay. Does it have an outside area to go and eat, and then they can play while we eat?
Right? Is there a park right there? Are we going to Sonic? Is
Yeah.
that what we're doing?
Right.
No. No. Yeah, no. I get that. Do you have any thoughts?
Um, Not really. I just was kind of, I guess, just trying to think of all the trips that I went to the last few years.
Oh,
Bronco brought to my life,
I get
um, and it's so cool all the people that you meet. And we went to like we were thinking, just talking about food. We ate by the Michigan Central Station. Came out, it was all lit up. It was so gorgeous. The kids had a blast. Bronco's birthday was great. Bringing the kids to that too.
right.
Michigan Assembly Plant. That was cute what Ford put on. Um,
Any plans for Colorado?
oh, I wish. Oh, that. looks so amazing. But again, like last year was too many trips. I had,
I get
um,
that.
and flying out, I don't know, but it one of these days, because it's funny because the first I was remembering when we bought our Bronco that in 22 I went to my friend's wedding out in Colorado. We the
Mm,
home actually drove the Bronco out, camped
yeah.
in the tent on top of the Bronco. And it was only like $25 at the campground to
Oh,
camp out.
yeah.
So it was down to 30 degrees, but it was fine.
Right?
More afraid of hearing a bear than sleeping. But I wished because it was at Winter Park, and I wished I didn't realize how close it was to Buena Vista. And I was like, oh, if only I visited while I was out there
Right? Yeah. Um, yeah,
before I.
the Buena Vista is gorgeous. And anytime my husband and travel, we actually started this 2 years ago.
Mhm.
If we're traveling, we're not staying in hotels anymore.
I know.
Campgrounds is it.
Yes.
We take a tent, we set it up, we go do whatever. Um, it takes more time. It's
Mhm.
not just drop your suitcase and go,
Right.
check in and go. You actually have to set something up, but it's a lot cheaper,
Mhm.
and it's so nice because it's
Away
just
from, yeah.
you have all the amenities, but at the same time,
Mhm.
you're breathing the fresh air.
Right.
Um, like, you might get a whiff of someone smoking, but usually the people at campgrounds
Right.
aren't smoking.
Right.
That's, like, something I've noticed is a lot of people at the campgrounds aren't smoking, they're just
Right.
chilling.
Right.
So, it's clean air. I don't have to worry about the smoke smell getting to me. I don't have to worry about this
Yes.
or that.
That was my biggest problem too.
Yes. Um, so it's just it's better. We like it. It's more than half the price of a hotel in the area.
And I liked how on the way to Colorado they had a place you could stop and just like camp out if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And I don't see that. Like, I wish there was a place like that on the way to Michigan, or
We have, like, highway campsites.
yeah, because I just noticed it was out west more than.
Like, yeah, because I mean, around here, we do have, I guess, in Kansas and,
Yeah.
towards Colorado, yeah, there's more of those, but we've been down to, like, places where I'm like, I'm struggling to find a campsite, with a
Mhm.
tent site.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess with a Bronco, you could just use a RV spot if you wanted to.
Or the hammock at the Mary ham.
Well, and
Sleep in the Bronco.
I don't know about tent, but if you sleep in your car, if you go, I know at any Walmart, if you go in and talk to the manager, you can ask permission to sleep in the parking lot if you're in a camper or in your car.
Because that's kind of like outside of Supercell, Tennessee,
Yeah.
Townsend, that we always end up coming in the middle of the night and we stay in
Yeah.
the parking lot. But then we always see the cop come in, and then I feel like he just sees that we're a Bronco and he goes right by. Um,
Yeah, but I learned that, like, if you're just sitting in the parking lot, the managers do have the right to call the cops on you. But if you actually go in, some of the Walmarts actually, it frequently happens. So they'll have like a slip of paper that you can put in your windshield, and it
oh,
says, "I have permission to be here from this person." So then when the cops drive by, they know that you have permission to be there.
interesting.
So I've heard that if you go in and talk to a manager or an employee and ask permission to be in the lot, then it's okay. So, and that's free. You don't have to pay to be there.
Yeah.
But you have to be in an RV or a car. You can't sleep in a tent
Okay. Because
or truck
technically,
stops.
or the
Truck,
tent on top of the Bronco.
right? I think that would be okay. But I mean, I guess it's up to the manager.
All right. That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Truck stops. That's also a good one.
Right. Bucky's. No.
We don't have a Bucky's in Kansas.
No. I
We have
don't think we
we have
do.
Loves.
Right. That's what we have too.
Yeah. Kansas loves. As the saying goes. But we actually have more Quick Trip than anything in
Right.
Kansas. Um, let's see. So, what's your favorite off-roading adventure that you've been on?
Ooh, that's that's gonna be tough. Um, can off rodeo be it?
Yes, of course.
That definitely tops it.
Which location? Or have you only been to
I've
one?
only been to Texas twice, so
Okay.
I'll see after Tennessee. But like I said,
Okay.
Amy Cloud's made it a lot of fun, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough to beat, but we'll see.
Okay. If you ever get a chance, the New Hampshire one is gorgeous. I know that for a fact. Tennessee is also gorgeous.
Mhm.
Um, those are the two that I've been to.
Is it kind of the same terrain? Like I picture New Hampshire is like full of trees, and Tennessee full of
Yeah,
trees.
so New Hampshire is a ski run.
Okay.
So they've like in the winter, of course, it's a ski run. In the summer, they aren't putting snow down, so there is no use for it. It's just
Mhm.
shut down. Um, and so they created an off-road course on it, so that way they can use it in the summer, spring and summer when they don't have snow.
Oh, cool. That's
So I was like, that is actually a very good idea. Take a place where you're not getting a lot of use and
mhm.
find a use for it. So it's not just sitting empty.
Right. And sometimes I have to admit I am bad. Like I traveled all the way 6 hours to Hollyoaks last year at was it Bronco Takeover? Not Bronco Takeover, but the Silver Lake Dunes is another one of my favorites. But at Hollyoaks, and I was talking with everybody, and then pretty soon it was like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, they're like, your Bronco isn't dirty yet, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta go because it was just fun, like seeing everybody and
Yes. That's one thing is my husband doesn't see the point in off-roading because you have the potential to harm your vehicle.
right,
And if he's paying that much for a vehicle, he doesn't want
right,
to put it in harm's way,
right,
which I get, but also adrenaline rushes are nice.
right.
It's nice to do the off-roading and to drive, and it's also relaxing.
I know because my dad thinks the same way, and he and I'm like, you don't get it. Like it's a stress reliever. It's
Yes.
it's nice,
By by driving along a cliffside and you not knowing if it's gonna give way or not is relaxing.
right? And then my husband's in the passenger seat, like, oh, what do I have to break on, or what do I have to fix on Monday morning? I'm like, nothing. It's strong.
Yep,
Of
I get
course.
that. I actually told my husband, I was like, I want to start working on my C-Max. He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, not do my own oil changes because I don't wanna do that, but, like, my car's making a noise. I don't wanna rack up a $200 service ticket
Right.
to, find out that the belt's bad because that's what I suspect it is. Um, why don't I just ask one of our buddies that's a tech to supervise what I'm doing and tell me if I'm gonna do something dumb? Um, but I want to know how to do this." And he's like, "Why?" I mean, we when someone else can do it, I was like, because then if I decide that I want to go to Rebel Rally
Right.
or I'm on the side of the highway or I've traveled somewhere and I'm not near Law MacArthur where I get an employee discount, I can handle it. And I know
Mhm.
what's going on with my vehicle and I can just go to a parts store and be like, "I need this.
Right.
Give it to me."
Right.
Um, I wanna be capable, you
Right.
know?
I know, and Jared taught me how to change a tire and everything like that, so I know kind of the little things that won't leave me stranded on the side of the road.
Right? My parents taught me how to do that in high school. My mom's like, "This is one thing that my dad was adamant I had to learn, so
Right.
I'm teaching you." And so I learned how to change a tire. I haven't actually had to do it,
Right.
because
Neither
the one time I had a flat, my dad came out and did it for me.
I know, was my problem too, like, I was taught how to do it, but then I never had to do it, so
Yeah,
hopefully it
same with
won't.
my sister. She got a flat on the way to my parents' house, and my dad went out there and did it for her. I was like, "Dad, what are you doing?" Um, but she needed to color my hair, so
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
so
Silver Lake Dunes is fun though, but it's
is it?
always like the same time as our local car show in town,
Mm.
and I'm like, "Oh, I need to be there." So then that's another one I leave late and then get there in the morning, and I think we hit a coyote on the way up
Oh my gosh.
or something. But the
Yeah.
Bronco just, I mean, I didn't even have the lift on it then, and then it just
Yeah,
we kept
just keeps
going.
going.
It's like, okay.
I get that. Um, All right. Let's see. Have you thought about Rebel Rally?
No, that would be amazing, but I would not be good enough for that.
You
um,
never know until you try.
oh, um, and with just the compass and the map and the
That's the part that I'm trying to get down
yeah,
is the navigation because I
mhm,
don't feel like I have the ability to train
right,
for the different terrains.
right,
We don't have dunes. We don't have that within
right,
a like I think the closest dunes are in Oklahoma and
hmm,
it's like a 6 to 8 hour drive.
right.
And then for rocky terrain, I have to drive 6 to 8 hours to Colorado.
What is
So
8 hours?
to go off roading, I have to go 6 to 8 hours away.
Same. The
So like
Midwest
I don't feel
flat,
like I can do that. I also don't have my own vehicle to learn it in.
right?
Um, so there's all of that. So I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to navigate. Math speaks to me, so I'm gonna do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I wouldn't
So
even know how did you have to find a sponsor and everything, and it's very
right.
expensive.
So like with me, I would see if like the dealership can help sponsor some of it and ask around town and see who else can help sponsor
Right,
me.
right.
Um, a lot of our community's big on helping sponsor other people
Mhm.
that have come from the community.
That would be
Um,
very awesome. What car would you drive then?
I'm not sure. I would probably try and find a partner that is already established with a car. Probably talk to Melissa and see if anyone's looking for a navigator.
Right.
And try and get in that way.
That's awesome.
Um, Otherwise, I'd have to find a driver for a car. Unless Law MacArthur's willing to loan me a Bronco or something to take, but then that's a whole mess with
Right,
liability and insurance and just like that's a whole
right,
mess.
right, right,
So, and then, they'd have to try and sell it because anything I get from them is coming off the lot. So then they'd have to try and
right,
sell it. Like
right,
there's a lot in that. So
right.
I'd probably find a driver that's with a vehicle that's looking for a navigator.
That's awesome. And having said that too, I don't know if I'd be able to get that much time off. Aren't they gone for like 8 days? I could barely take in
8 days
a
is
day.
the length of the trials, but you have to be there the day before for a tech inspection, um, and all of that, and then like the day after. So you're probably looking at 10 days. And then you have to drive there and then
Right,
drive back. So like from your location, you'd probably take 2 days to drive and both
right.
ways. So you're looking at 14 days that
Because it's 12 hours to Colorado. We kind of hauled. We got home in 12 hours. We hauled like we
yeah,
didn't stop at all
yeah.
for only for
We
gas.
I mean, for us, it's I guess to Michigan is like us going to Denver
Right,
for us.
right,
Um, it's about
right.
6 hours to Denver.
Oh, not bad.
No,
Yeah,
so we've always vacationed in Colorado.
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. The
Colorado has
mountains
a
are
special
so
place in my
amazing.
heart.
You have the Smoky Mountains, which are amazing, but when you go to Colorado, it's just they're so
It's
booming.
different,
Yes. Mhm.
or so I've been told.
And we were when we went out there, I was so close to getting the ride in the hot air balloon, but we missed it because I just couldn't. You saw the mountains and you're like, oh, we're almost there. No, it was like another 3 hours, and we
Oh
just
my
couldn't.
gosh. Yeah,
That would have been neat to see.
yeah. We see the mountains about Lyman, and that's still about 4 hours away from the mountains.
Right, right.
3 to 4 hours. Like you can see those mountains.
And my Bronco's the 2.3, and it handled the mountains like nothing. I mean,
Oh yeah. We took a Ranger, and I think it was a 2.7.
mhm,
Um, I'm not really sure. It was an FX4 that my
mhm.
father-in-law had purchased.
Yeah.
We fit 2 adults, 2 kids in car seats, and 3 dogs inside the Ranger with everything that we needed to camp in the bed.
Nice.
We fit it all in. And then, of course, my father-in-law had not gotten a bed cover. So on the way back,
It rained.
we actually decided that we didn't want to make the 8-hour trip back all in one go. So we stopped halfway about the 4-hour mark and we got a hotel room. So we went in and then we saw rain clouds and we're like, crap, we should have just kept going.
Right.
Half our reason is that there's a winery about half an hour from where we were planning to stay. So we were like, well, we want to stop at that winery because it's our favorite winery and we want to stock up on our favorite wine directly from them because it's $5 cheaper than the in store price. And nowhere in Salina carries that wine. So, like, we have to drive like 40 minutes just to get a bottle. And then
Right.
you're paying $5 extra. Like, let's just stop there on our way home and stock up on some wine. So, of course, they weren't open on our way back. So we stopped and it started to rain. And I'm like, crap, we need to bring everything inside. Luckily, we were on the first floor and their windows opened up and had no screen.
Oh, this is
So we backed the truck up to the window.
so,
One of us outside, one of us inside, and we just were pulling things in to the hotel room through our window.
so it's like you were camping, kind of.
In a way, yeah. And then like we went and got pizza and it was a whole thing. We also forgot the passy on the way down. So that was a whole thing because we were in Buena Vista at 10 o'clock at night, no passy, and he would not go to sleep at the campsite. Um,
Oh,
closest
that's
open late store, closest Walmart that was open till like 2 a.m. was 2 hours away in
wow.
Colorado Springs. So of course we were like, crap, this
Uh,
is not good. So I spent like half the night driving around trying to keep him asleep or at least keep the crying contained in the car.
See, mine would fall asleep in the car, like whenever we were.
He
Like his
fell asleep.
first word was Bronco. It was not gonna lie. And
Yeah.
it's almost like at Supercell, Tennessee, he's kind of still he was peeing the bed sometimes, and he actually peed in the tent. It was horrible.
It
And
happens. It happens. Boys will be boys. The things that happen with boys are unexplainable.
yes, and then I tried to be a good role model and yeah, don't do the trail turn assist with my kids too because they're learning that with their go kart. Then trying to be like mom with the Bronco. So
I get that. Yeah, I think my youngest, he's obsessed with the dog water bowl.
oh,
Um, you know those Wubbanubs, the pasties with the stuffed animal attached?
oh yes.
He likes to dunk that in the dog water and
Oh,
then suck the water out of it. I was like,
you should just get a clean water bowl and then put it on the table for him though.
we've
Yeah.
we've actually I figured that out the other day. We were stuck inside of the snowstorm. I'm like, "Hey, do you want a bowl of do you just want your own thing of water?" And he's like, "Yeah, give Cars bath." And I'm like, "Okay." So now anytime he's starting to mess with dog water, we get a bucket of water and just put it down for him.
Oh my god. That's fine. I don't have any pets. My cat that I grew up with is at my parents. He's old.
Mm,
But my
yeah.
I guess I have to take care of my horses, the Broncos. So that's my
Right? Yeah, we have 2 kids, 3 dogs, an Australian Shepherd, and 2 Dachshunds,
oh
and we just got 8 chicks.
nice. Oh yeah, I guess I do have two chickens.
Yeah.
But
I've always talked about how all of our dogs are male, so I'm like, "I'm outnumbered. I am the only female in this house. We have only males, like, there's 6 of you against 1 of me,
so now you have eight.
and so now we got chicks, and I'm like, "Yes, I have females at last, and I outnumber you guys.
It's so funny.
I took you guys out with one fell swoop. I got chickens."
Yeah, Luke brought him home from school, so like
Yeah.
we can keep them, I
Yeah.
guess.
Alright. Well, I think our time is almost up. So I'm gonna hop off and do our outro. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another week of All Women Driven, where we are looking into women's pasts to drive women forward in automotive. Um, I think we will have Shelby Hall for our next video. So have a wonderful day Don't forget to like and share. Um, and we'll see you next time.